There's good news and there's bad news in the stats. If we go through the good news quickly, we see that the proportion of households that are using electricity for lighting has increased from 69% to 84%. More children aged between 5 and 7 are going to school, including preschool. We see an increase in the number of households living in formal dwellings. Take us through the big ticket items in terms of showing that there is in fact an increase in the standard of livings of South Africans, and what are the key numbers to be looking out for?
I guess there are few issues that we need to start with. Once you understand the population dynamics, then you start to understand that we are currently looking at a highly unequal society. When you look at the numbers, you start to realize that these disparities in terms of annual household income in South Africa are amazing. You are talking about 60,000 as an annual household income for a black household. But you go to the white households, you are talking about 365,000 per year. That would mean for a black household, they are taking an average of 5,000 as compared to about 20,000 as an average household income per month. That is a serious disparity that we are looking at. Then that would go back to say, what normally brings income into the households? It's employment. When you look at the levels of employment in the country, we immediately know that 1 out of 4 people who are in the labor market or in the labor force are not employed. With that staggering 25% and above of unemployment in the country, you're starting to realize that the skills that we are requiring within the economy for the economy to grow so that the people will have better livelihoods is not matched with the levels of development that the country needs.
If you will let me get in there, it says here that South Africa's older white population didn't grow wealthier faster than their black counterparts over the last 10 years. In fact, quite to the contrary, black households' income between 2001 and the last version averaged at 169% compared to an increase of just 88% for white households. But it also says that the difference in growth in income between the two race groups remains steady in the coming years, and that it's going to take something like 50 years for the black community to actually, get to the income levels of white. What is driving these inequality patterns in our society?
It starts about understanding the issues of development. For an economy to grow, we need to have more people that are economically active. When you look at the population of South Africa today, you are saying 66% of the population today are between 15 and 65. That is the population that is supposed to be able to be economically active so that then the economy can grow. But what you see is that most of those are unemployed. And when that is a case, then development is constrained in terms of how then people get into the labor market. How do they get economically active for them to be able to push economic growth and the development trajectory of the country?
Now, of course, we've also seen some interesting stats around the increased use of internet in South Africa and mobile telephones. What does the stats tell us there?
What we have seen is that there is access in terms of internet, but what you see is that about 65% of the households currently do not have access to internet. You have about 5% of the households saying they access their internet from work, but it might be that the usage is there, the access is increasing. You already are seeing that you're moving away from using landlines and an increase towards using cell phones. So technology is coming into the country. It comes at a cost. It comes with impact in terms of the livelihoods of the people. For me to be able to have a cell phone, I need to be able to have money, and I need to be able to sustain a particular type of livelihood, and that does not come cheap. Then the major issue, I think the basic issue in the country is if we are educated, we will be able to get into the labor market, we will be economically active, we will earn more, and then the development of the country will be better.
Let's talk about education stats. Some very interesting disparities again between black and white in terms of how many percentages in terms of population growth finish matrics. Give us the breakdown.
What we have seen is that around 27% of people that are between the ages of 20 and are within the ages of 20 and above have completed something that we call some secondary schooling. then it means you are sitting with about 37% of the population that is supposed to have been schooling, that is between the age of 5 and 24, that have completed matric. That tells us that much as we are seeing growth in terms of the people that are in higher education, that is about 12% of the ages of 5 to 24. There are many that are starting to be left behind. Between the ages of 15 and 24, when you look at the education trend, you start to see that it is going down. What that means is that a number of our youth are not completing their matric. That then has impact into their future, including how then they would be employed or then being able to have money that they can be able to drive their livelihoods.
Let me just get the focus to process quickly. The study was in the field for 10 weeks, but you've had an undercount of 14%. That's quite high, and
Yes.
an undercount obviously refers to instances where your information seekers couldn't get access to households, people either refusing or not, they're not being able to get in. To what extent does this 14% of an undercount impact on the quality and the reliability of the data?
Okay, the 40%, the 14% that we have seen is a serious improvement between the 2001 and this one, where we were
What was
at
the undercount then?
17% in 2001. And the major issue is because we have a highly mobile population, you would not be in a position to find some of the people within the households at the time when we are conducting the survey, let alone that you have that percentage of people that say, no, I'm not interested, I don't want to be counted. But with this census, we can say and vouch that the population was very active, the publicity was there, and even when we were just about to finish, we got the calls with people saying, please come and collect your forms, please come and count.
So there was
me.
a great appetite to
There
share that
was,
information.
yes.